Okay, this video will provide the directions for completing flat layout number 20, the spacer. Let's go and get this thing started. First of all, when you look at the answer key, what you're going to notice is that it's an A-size border, and since it does not have a metric box in the lower right corner, it indicates that this is an A-inch border. So I'm going to go up here to the top where it says File New, bring my cursor up here, left click, and I should be under my SOLIDWORKS templates right now. I'm looking for a GHSA inch border, which would be the first icon in the second row. I see the preview at my right. I'm going to go ahead and say OK. Now, again, as usual, SOLIDWORKS think we're going to do a part drawing, but we have not created parts yet. We're just going to use the paper simply as a sketch tool. So I'm going to go ahead to my left where the red X is under model view, left click, and then hit my F key to center up the paper. Now we're going to start this off with a circumscribed polygon. Okay, so I'm going to go under my sketch toolbar here, and I'm going to start off with a six-sided figure. And so I'm going to go up here to my polygon tool. I'm going to use the six-sided, but I want the circle to be circumscribed. That means I want to circle on the outside edge. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is now click in the middle of my screen. I'm going to left click, and I want to make sure that the horizontal line is flush at the top. So in this case, I don't want to pull straight up because otherwise I'm going to have this thing twisted. I want to pull directly to my right horizontally or to my left horizontally. Pull either way until you see something that looks about the right size, and left click. Now, at this point, I want to make sure that I take over here at the left, I want to click the box that says For Construction under the Options tab. What that does is it automatically changes the lines to dashed lines, which is what we want right now. I'm going to go ahead and hit my check mark or escape to exit the tool. I'm going to turn on my smart dimension, and I'm going to hit the outside circle and pull down and make this a diameter of 4 inches. Now I'm also going to go ahead and just make sure that my lines are horizontal. So I'm going to click on this bottom line and just make sure that it is perfectly horizontal so that this thing is sitting in the right orientation. So I click on the bottom line and look to my left, and I click the word horizontal. Hit your check mark, and now you have your part ready to start. So the next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and I want to add some circles. I'm going to add 2 circles to each vertex of this hexagon. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on my circle tool. What I want to do is I'm going to go to each corner. I'm going to draw 2 circles. Now I could also draw one of these. I could pattern it 6 times. That would work also, since we have been using circular pattern tool. But in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get these in here, dimension both circles, and then so the circles equal to each other as I work around the part. So I'm going to start off by adding in a dimension on this outside right-hand circle at a dimension of 1 inch. I'm going to click the inside circle and pull down and dimension this to a diameter of 0.5. Now I'm going to turn my dimensioning tool off, and holding down my control key, I'm going to go ahead and click on all of the outside circles first. So holding my control key and continue with my left mouse button, hit the edge or outside edge of these outside circles. And I'm going to come over here to the left and make them all equal to each other. Hit your check mark. Now I'm going to repeat that pattern by doing the inside circles. So I'm going to hold my control key, click on each of the inside circles, all 6 of them. And again, to my left, I will make them all equal. So now what I'll do is I'm going to add in the notes as I go. So this one has a 6 space X space 1.00. So I'm going to left click on this. And over here where it says dimension text, put my cursor in front. I'll type the number 6, turn on my caps lock, spacebar X space. And actually I'll get rid of that last space. That looks good enough. Hit your check mark. Now I'm going to do the same thing with this one. This one says 0.5, 6 holes equally spaced. So I'm going to put my cursor at the end of this mod diam DIM, put at the end. I'm going to hit my space key, 6 holes, hit my enter, and then type in equally spaced. And hit your check mark when you are done. Okay, now going on to the next step, we are basically now go ahead, and I need to actually, I forgot the one other step. I got to draw some construction lines across this part. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back up here to center line, and I'm going to go ahead and hover on this left diamond, pull a little bit out, left click and pull across. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing here. We kind of pull out, kind of this part right here. And honestly, what I'll probably end up doing on this one, I'm just going to go ahead and draw a couple lines. So I'm going to do one this way. And then what I'll do is I will add a relationship between that line, my control key in this corner, and make them coincident. I'll do that at both sides. So I'll come down here, hit this corner, control key, this line, coincident. I'll repeat that one more time. I'm going to take the next line, draw it across the part, hit my escape to turn the tool off, and holding my control key, I'll take that corner and this line and make them coincident. I'll go up top, hit that line in this corner and make them coincident. Check mark. Now from here, what I want to do is I need to come in, I actually got to add in one more thing. I need to add in another hexagon on the inside. So I'm going to go ahead at this point, I'm going to draw a hexagon at this center. And again, I want to pull it to my right. So I'm just going to kind of pull along this orange line until it looks about the right size, and then left click. Now for this one, I don't need the inside circle. So I will highlight that circle with a left click and hit my delete key. I'm going to verify this line here is horizontal. So I'm going to click on the bottom line, come to my left and hit horizontal. I'm now going to smart dimension from the very top here to the bottom, pull off to my left, and type in 0.75. Now what I want to do is I want to offset all of these construction lines here. And I need the offset to be 0.1 bidirectional. Okay, and you'll see that in the set of directions I provide you in step 3. So let's go to our offset tool up here at the top. I want 0.1 in there. I do not want to add dimensions, but I also want this to be bidirectional. What that means is that when I click on a line, it will go 0.1 to the left and 0.1 to the right for a total distance between lines of 0.2. And that's what we need for all these lines. So as I start clicking, you'll notice that it's giving me 2 of these lines. One at 0.1 this way, one at 0.1 that way for a total distance of 0.2. I'm going to do that all the way around this hexagon. And then I'm going to do these lines. So as you can see, I have all these double lines in here. I hit my check mark. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do one more offset here. I'm going to offset this hexagon right here, 0.2. Okay, so this one's not 0.1, it's 0.2. So I'm going to hit 0.2, and I'm not going to do bidirectional. I'm just going to go ahead and hit this outside so it goes out 0.2. I'll hit my check mark. Now what I want to do is do some trimming here to kind of get this part to start to shape out. So I'm going to turn on my Trim Entities tool. I'm basically going to come in here and I want to trim these lines here. I got to be really careful here because some of these lines are really close to the edge of the circles. And I'm going to do that to each of these circles. So trimming this down. So I'm going to get every circle looking just like this. So this is going to take some time. So I'm going to come in here and get rid of this line. Okay, circle number 2, continuing over here, same thing. Up, I need to Control Z that last one because I need that line in there. Actually, I should Control Z it twice. There. Going back and retrim. I need to keep that center line. That was a mistake on my part. Okay, there's 3 of the 6. I got to keep working on. Do the other side here. And actually what I'll do is I'll save myself some time by highlighting these lines and just deleting them now, since I have trimmed them. That way I don't have to trim quite so much. Okay, and get rid of that one and this one. Okay, continue on down, trim these out. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn my trim tool off, and I'm just going to highlight these individual lines now and just hit my delete key. Make it a little bit faster, a few less clicks, make it a little bit easier on myself. Okay, oh, I got to trim in here too. Almost forgot this part. I need to trim inside here. Same thing. Trim these pieces. And then I'm going to turn this off, hit escape, and then come on in here and highlight each line I don't need and hit delete. Delete. Okay, so that takes me through step 4 right there. Okay, so if you're following along on the written directions, that is step 4. I'm now going to move on to step 5. So looking on the step 5 here, now what I'm going to do is start trimming off inside these circles. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is, again, with my trim tool, I'm going to begin trimming these little pieces off to open this up. So I'm going to do it around each circle and then also around this hexagon. So we're basically opening these up so they look like they're all blended together. Okay, and then continue around the circles. That's that one. Continue on here. Up this way. Continue up around here. And then finish off up here. And turn off your trim tool. All right, so that takes me through step 5. So now what I got to do is start turning on my fillet tools. Okay, so we're going to start rounding off all of these sharp corners. Okay, so we're going to just work our way around. In this case, the fillet tool will be 0.2. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go to my sketch fillet. Instead of 0.1, we're going to put in 0.2. And now I'm just going to go around and start clicking on corners and saying yes all the way around the part. Now this only works if you have true corners. If you don't, it will not work for you. Okay, so the key is to get all these corners trimmed off so there's nothing interfering with them. And now I can come over here and hit my fillet tool and get all my fillets correct. Okay, because you can start seeing the preview. Okay, so there's the upper half. Continuing to the lower. and then click the outsides. And yes. And the last quadrant here. I think I have all my edges rounded, which is what it looks like. So at this point, hit your green check mark. It'll take just a second to go through. Go ahead and exit out of your sketch fillet. So there you go. This is what we're looking at. Okay. Now in this case, I'm going to go ahead and add in a dimension here. So I'm going to go here and turn on my smart dimension and click on this and pull out a little bit. Don't worry about this. I'll say, okay, I'm not worried about it. I'm going to hit the little dot at the back. And I'm going to highlight this and over to my left in the dimension text box. I'm going to space, put my cursor at the end, caps lock TYP. Okay, and that's all I need right there. All right, so that pretty much takes us right to the end. Now, a lot of you are saying, if you're reading this, and the questions that were asked to me were, this is not like the answer key. Well, the answer key actually was step number 7. The final step to all this was then to come in and add circles, basically at touching these corners. Okay, so you can pull anywhere and just basically you're going to come in here, attach, pull to a point. Okay, middle, pull to a point. And so we're just going to redraw circles on top to make it look like they're supposed to. At that point, this would be what your answer key looks like. Okay, so in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to add a title to this, okay, and get our title block done. All right, so now I'm going to get that set up right now so that we're going to make sure all dimensions are on there, everything else that we need. I've got my point 2 here. I do need to add one more on this side, which is going to be between that line and this line with a slight pull out. Check mark, and then I'm over here to the left. I'm going to type in TYP. Okay, I have my 6 by 1.00, my 0.5 6 holes equally spaced. My 4.00 is down here. I see this extra dimension, so I'm going to highlight that and delete it out. My 0.75 stays right here, and if you want to flip the arrowheads, you're more than welcome to. You can click on the arrowheads and then pull this slightly out like it is in the answer key. The last thing I need to do, now don't move this around because you start to try to move things, you could end up messing the whole thing up. So I'm going to leave it alone right where it's at. If it's not perfectly centered, that's okay as long as you have it on the paper. Now under my annotation toolbar up here at the left of Sketch, I'm going to hit my note tool. And I'm going to come below and left click inside and create a text box. Now that gives me my formatting box. Now remember, all of our titles are the same. We're going to keep it at Arial, the font size of 12, bold and underline, and centered. Caps lock on, and we're going to type in the following. SWX space problem number 20 space dash space spacer. Hit your green check mark and then adjust this wherever you need it to put. Your final stop here on this then is to come in here and clean up your title block. So where it says GHS student, double click and put the first initial of your first name and your last name. For title, we're going to type in ACC problem 20 spacer. Click outside. Adjust as you need to. Today's date will be, let me see, today is 9/30/19. Click outside, adjust as you need to. Period, I'm going to be as 2A today, but put your correct period in there. Scale will remain at 1:1. Hit your F key, and this now completes problem number 20. So your final step is obviously to go up and do a save as. Save it to your name, your H drive, CAD folder, and if you have a flat layout folder, that's great. We're going to name this ACC, oops, let me caps lock that, 20 underscore my last name. I'm going to add on the period. Say save. The last step then is to print and turn this in. So I'm going to go up top to the printer, hit the little print button, go ahead and hit OK. Make sure you're in the correct lab. In our case, we're in L108. I'll say OK. It will show it's printing. Go collect it from the printer and put it in the collection box. At this point, we are done with our ACC flat layouts. The only thing left to do is a quiz review, which is in the folder. So go ahead and try practicing that and get yourself prepared for the quiz. Use this video to your advantage. You can stop, pause, rewind, and fast forward as necessary. Good luck. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask.